Perfect. So on average we did about every hour a nice joke in the other class, so let's keep up that ratio. We're going to do a little bit catch up from last week. Catch up, then do a little bit more lecture. I have all the reverse design scanned copies. So we have a discussion group, so everyone can join us in a discussion. Like map pops up. Who's this map? You can come forward and present your thoughts and justifications. You don't have to do this, but part of this learning experience in this class is how to learn how to properly present and ideas, the concept of ideas, and therefore you're getting some free feedback on the way you present it, not just what you have there, but also like, I can see here I put something on the map, versus here is the quick concept of mixed-use development. Yeah? Different. Yeah? And we saw that on Thursday night, that if you have team competitions with outside funding, that at the end of the day, the way they present has critical impact. There was not just for joke that comment by one of the foundation folks to say, best dressed man, and pointing to one of our students in the back. You did not protect. Mandatory event. But the lessons learned was, he was the best dressed man that night, 2 days ago, and the presentation day for the client. But they had flaws in the system with the whole presentation. At the end, one team did not submit on time. And that's a non-confirming bit, and you're out of the game. And that team's, one of the ideas of that team was the most favored by the client. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah. All the great work you do, it comes down to the bottom line of how to tell the story. Do the sales pitch. Present in a proper way. I would never present in this casual outfit in front of a board meeting. Yeah? Shoes here for comfortable purposes, because last week in regular shoes I can't walk the next day with back pain. Yeah? So this is the comfy thing. But keep that in mind. Most, if not all, of our presentations we give in class professional attire. Like you would present to a council member or a board member setup. Yeah? Like you would present in front of your bankers to get millions of dollars of financing done. Yeah? Don't show up in old jeans with yard work, dirt on yard work on it, and a t-shirt that needed retirement 10 years ago. Yeah? So professional attire, be in particular, sometimes I think it's even more important to respect the situation and be aware of the audience and the situation, almost any attire. You can give a fantastic presentation with no tie on. Don't need to have necessarily the tie. If it says suit up, suit up. Suit up is fine. But being aware of the setup. If you do presentations here in the last session, we're doing this boardroom style, council member style. Suit up. I can't give clothing advice to the ladies, but you understand that even with show up in a nice coat and tie, you would fit the appropriate attire to that. If you're really cool, he's matching your outfit's color with his tie. That gives you bonus points. No, just kidding. We will have alumni actually in the room for judging. That's going to be cool. So it's not me just giving you the A+ or the B- or the C or the F. Full spectrum. It's going to be 2 or 3 of the alumni. So particularly those who actually came through this class, who played with the blocks, because they exactly know the stories behind your decisions. And they are all industrial experts, brokers, financial analysts. So they put you on the pressure point for the financials behind that. Why did you come up with 18%? Why don't you deal with the 20% you could squeeze out? So, but that's the mindset for later. All right, I want to repeat a little bit from last week, and we skipped the pictures. Yeah? Planning and education planning is not just reading slides like this and remember the 7 goals of site planning, but it's also the idea of I've seen concepts. I've been out in the real world. I've walked through Las Olas, not just looking at the shops, new sunglasses. Yeah? No, it's 2nd or 3rd floor. It's look around the corner of the house and count the amount of gas meters or electric meters. Why? To identify how many tenants are in there. Technically, all the units are separate electric meters. Gives you an idea. It looks like a great thing. Could be 5 homes, 5 units, could be 7 units. Yeah? Squeeze a look. In Europe, not so much here in the US because it could be trespassing. We have a courtyard set up in the housing blocks. Well, then sneak into the courtyard and take a look how it looks from the inside. Yeah? Show you pictures so you won't get shot. Right. So that's the plan. Quick lecture, mostly about context, visual stuff, urban form, historic development. History that is 2,000 years old in urban development versus what we experienced in the last 200 years. And believe it or not, both timelines made mistakes. But sometimes you have to travel far, far, far to learn what you want to do in the close-up. Timeline-wise, started around 12:40. I want to close at 4:30. Just because the GS class lunch break didn't work out right, we will close on time. That's the plan. If group work wants to add a few more minutes, that's fine. We just need to make arrangements with the blocks. And I want to aim for about half time, cut into group work. So you get enough time to play with those blocks and set up the ideas and explore more in depth. Because right now I would guess that none of you had actually a meeting outside of this class. Maybe a phone call or an email for arranging the roles. I want you to explore that role play character today. If Marielle is the financial analyst, she is just dealing with the numbers. Get your laptop out, load up the Excel spreadsheet, play with the Excel spreadsheet. The handbook gives you actually a manual how to do that. Versus him, the site planner. He needs to have the information about what's allowed and not. If you know the numbers, that's fine for her, but gotta focus on your roles. And I think one of the challenges will be what you try to solve, should solve today, or start solving, is your organization of the team. Like there are specific goals for each role. What kind of bullet points do you need to have to check off? What items does the city liaison have, and you cannot avoid that? Like the nice to have and the must haves. That organization will help you with in 2 or 3 weeks within your discussion, when you move around blocks, like literally whole city blocks. That will help you to make the decision, because then you're more in depth in the material. It's not just Lego blocks, it's actually, we had a discussion on Thursday night after the event. The Lego blocks are on the teamwork. I think they are more challenging and rewarding than actually dealing with an airport like that, like the big example. Why? Because you have more detail you can discuss and go in depth. You have more defined roles rather than this large big picture. All right. And what I try to do is at the bottom of the hour, during a quick break, like literally 3 minutes, like hallway up and down or bathroom. So you don't lose too much time. All right, important things in your lives. Typical goals of site planning. We mentioned that last week. We have the function component, that it has to fit the function and needs what you do. The communication is mandatory and super, super needed. You always have the choice what kind of product you develop, and you always can give the choice to your client what kind of product they want to see and develop. Demand and supply, the idea. Cost, real estate development. I think the cost factor in site planning, we somewhat have the handle on that. What we usually don't really deal with is health and comfort. We just go with it. It will be healthy, you know, unless you put that into your mission statement or into your vision, what the kind of developments you would like to do. In commercial real estate, industry and warehousing maybe, or offices, health, office space, maybe some more green space, comfort, for sure, more open space, not as tiny cubicles. The adaptability, point number 6, it's already starting tonight. That feeds into the function. How to reverse this? Image quality, you'll see that branding is an important part of all that, because if you can't brand it the right way, you won't sell it the right way, and therefore you're not going to be successful with it.
Sell to whom? To a city?
Whoever is your client. The image quality is multifaceted. Image quality means, in this case, to whom you can sell it as an idea. City council, planning and zoning commission. This development we propose is going to be really great for this community. Yeah? Because we're going to add to the existing culture and identity of this place. Versus, I have 150 dwelling units, townhomes, in 2 phases. Yeah? Upper and income class, middle to upper income. And I need to make sure that I can sell those. Yeah? Vice versa. Same project. Yeah? Internal and external communication, and therefore also image quality. Internally, gotta sell it, get the product out, gotta get the tenants in. Versus, hey community, buy into us, city, please approve us our permits. And if you do a good job, both sides will be happy. Yes, please.
Image quality, is it the same thing as almost like marketing? Would it be?
Yeah, but we use in this context more like place branding, because you're creating places. Okay. Yeah, and places are spaces with felt value, identity, and culture. So you had to figure out what you're going to do with that. Culture would be like, we did this stereotyping of like Chinatown.
Right.
You expect certain identities and certain cultures in that context, architectural or by human beings. Again, context is part of the game today. Okay, the site as a whole, as part of the textbook, talks if you interrupt the site with the plan, you actually need to take in the whole spirit, and you need to make sure that everything is considered. And this is your subsurface conditions. So subsurface conditions, as an example, is you need to know if it's swampland, sand, clay, rock. In the context of Florida, you need to know one more thing. Will you have an underground water body on your property? Like this large downtown development we're going to take a look at it over the next few years, 201 East Las Olas, this new Twin Tower block coming up. Well, they had to figure out for the construction management how they drill down the piles for the foundation, because they actually have a river flowing underneath there. Yeah? Gotta know that. Subsurface conditions, I would include also part of the man-made characteristics. Was this a prior Superfund or a brownfield site? Just because you rehab half a street block and there used to be a gas station, you might want to actually take care of the issues that an old gas station or a mechanic shop has. It has a few spilled gallons of oil or something, and she's like nodding, it's like, yeah. Come to a military base. Yeah?
Well, we had, this happened, can't remember the name of the base. They built all new housing, and this was all over the news. They're tearing down all the, there's no nice way to say shitholes, because I'm being nice when I say that.
Why? Because they had a latrine area there or a sanding, yeah.
And so they were going to build up all new housing, and they found that they had
common issue. So military bases in Germany is a huge thing. World War II, allies. And over time, particularly after German reunification, what happened was conversion. So you ended up actually having an old tank base or tank rehab or maintenance area. and you give that back to the city. So what are you going to do where you actually had the maintenance areas and you had like 3 or 4 feet deep contamination, not just a few inches?
Oh, just built over.
You gotta deal with that. So man-made
Thank you.
characteristic of subsurface conditions you have to be aware of. We had in East Germany after reunification, we had areas where old fabrication manufacturing companies have been sold the whole property with the structure on it for 1 German mark or $1. Yeah? Why? Because the decontamination and demolition costs would not make this product, that site feasible enough in the regular land competition. So the way to sponsor you going to come in and settle and clean this up and build a new facility on top of that is me as the public owner, I would give that to you for $1. Don't give you much tax credit, maybe I give you much tax credit, and then for the next 10, 15 years I hope that you stay with me and develop. Or he will get all the tax credits for 5 years and he disappears. That happened too. Yeah? So there are different ways of incentives. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Okay. Landscaping, climate, acoustics. Believe it or not, acoustics is a very interesting thing. Yeah? Because the way you align your buildings, the way you actually form your landscaping, trees and bushes can be great noise reductions. Yeah? There's actually a point here on campus, if you walk to the student union building and past the pagodas, yeah, it goes straight to the competition pool and the soccer fields. There's this one spot, like a round little plaza, where you walk in and you sound like you have cotton balls in your ear. Because all the surrounding sounds is by design nullified. No AC background noise, nothing. Just walk there while you walk, blah, 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 like you would drop into a, it's a design component fitting this kind of acoustics idea.
Did they hire a sound specialist?
I don't know if they did it for that case or as a just a gimmick designers do. I've been on multiple campuses and they actually put that somewhere in place. I think it's also like a gimmick for the tours. Like, hey, what happened? And then you have a moment to then present something. Alright, we did this, we didn't do that yet. The process and the program. Yeah, we have 2 different approaches in land use development or science planning. That one is the systematic and the unsystematic approach. One, you start planning to think out, like this could be an idea, this could be an idea, this could be an idea, and you scratch the numbers. Yeah? Or the more systematic approach is you have a specific goal in mind. You actually look for a specific site and a specific size because you want to develop a specific product. Yeah? If you want to do a specific shopping mall size, under 10 acres, you're not looking for a property. Yeah? But you're not looking at a 10-acre site and say, this could be a cool apartment building, or maybe warehousing. Yeah? So that's kind of the idea. Yeah? The image of the site guides the design is one of the comments. Yes. Because, why?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
The image of the site guides the design. Why is that?
It depends where it's located.
Exactly, places give you character. Yeah? A skyscraper in a slope area like this doesn't make sense. Yeah? The image of the site also means its spirit. This is this kind of metaphor read between the lines particularly in this chapter. Yeah? And given the site what is its best use, we call it highest and best use. Yeah? A parking lot is not always its best use, but short term in terms of investment and revenue, maybe it is. Yeah? And then you realize, hey, that parking lot on A1A and Las Olas, where they tea together, yeah? Elbow room for some people might know that place. Yeah? If you not right now, you have been you had too much time outside of classroom yet. But there's a parking lot. They're actually going to, did they break ground right now? They're going to put actually a community park there. So highest and best use, community park.
$4 an hour.
Community park as in open space park, green, not parking.
Oh.
Yeah, community park, like green, fun stuff. Yeah, why? Because the beach is across the street. Because it's actually part of the quality of life that you want to impose at that area. Yeah? And therefore, it's also an image, because it's the most frequent spot you can see if you're in that area. Wherever you want to go along the beaches, you hit that spot. Therefore, traffic is catastrophic. Yeah? All right, a few ideas. I actually had a bigger today. All right, crate planes. I'm trying to present some pictures with a story, try to make the story shorter than usual. Yeah? So if we talk about site planning and layout, biggest bang for the buck comes to mind. Yeah? Or what we call the cookie cutter. Yeah? This is Meridian in Idaho. Subdivided, have some alley passing here, have some streets here, larger subdivision, larger street here. Yeah? Basically one entry, one exit, and bang, 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 bang. Looks like barracks. Yeah? It's two floors high, 2 stories high, garage attached to it, or something like a garage attached to it. Barely some backyard, but well, it's somewhat a semi-desert climate. So they right now run probably like 100 or 105.
0 mile on
Depends. Depends on the design. Maybe the only reason why you have a chain link fence is because you might have a dog. Yeah? But everything else is like path, green, path, green. Yeah? Back then when I took that picture, they went by 150 to 180K. Cheap, but the main downtown area is probably 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes drive time away. You say, yeah, 45 minutes, it's like my backyard. Like I live in Boca and I work in Miami. Yeah, that would be the dimension for that scale. Yeah, what you have as 2 hours or 90 minutes to 2 hours drive time, this would be the Meridian experience of going to Boise, Idaho, about 40 minutes in the morning. Why would people buy a house like this? Because they would actually be able to afford it, and they do not account the transportation costs. Gasoline. With $1.90 or $2 of gasoline a gallon, you can do that. Hallelujah, the day curse when we had the $3.50.
Oh, we're having it now.
Yeah, or will be soon again because of how. But those have been really, really cursing. I had students carpooling something. Because planning students back then, that's fine. This is an example of Cincinnati. When you fly into the Cincinnati airport, but you also can see this is a little bit different. They actually have some green space and trees included. So it's a little bit more looser. Those are 4,000 to 5,000 square foot homes. Different size. But look, this guy here, this is this guy's driveway. This one here, to get out,
Oh, okay.
it's the pass along driveway to get out. Yeah? Maybe you can cut here. Yeah, maybe, yeah, looks like it. Oh, supermarket is small stuff. It's like you're in Alligator Alley and you shop your daily. This is wild, but different appeal. Which one would you prefer to live in? Left one, huh?
Corner lot, around the corner.
This one?
Yeah. You're getting the biggest kind of curve.
I would pick more than that too.
Definitely.
But yeah, see, different site layout, different image, different quality. Yeah, let's do planning context. This is all about context. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you tell a story how your product and product proposal for the city will fit into the context of their RFP and their lifestyles. So here on the left side, Washington DC a few years ago. I will find it. Can't remember which corner it was. It's typical. Let's have a walking tour and what's that? Apparently, this guy did not sell and or was protected by historical preservation, probably the latter. Yeah, and they put a whole block of office building around it. So it's not like here and here, no, like U-shaped, full street block. Yeah?
Where is that?
That's Washington, D.C.
It's like fun bottom.
It's like 20 minutes walking between the FBI building and DuPont Circle. I'm going to be there in November. I'll try to retrace it and actually find the location. Alright, any idea where this could be?
The car is European plates. It looks like the car plate because it has a front plate. America doesn't have it, so it's not in America. Looks like here.
No,
But
Floyd.
Americans decorate their cars for fun like that.
Florida doesn't have it.
Floyd doesn't have front plates.
That's Monterey building?
Alright, but you're good. The format is a European format. This is a European license plate format. Alright, what else? Read the context document of the picture. What do you see?
Zoom in a little bit, I can tell.
I see TV antennas.
Palladium?
So it might be a rental.
Green space.
Rental building.
Alright, this is a dream. It's the 21st January 2005. A freezing cold day. Yeah, it's in Europe. What else do we see?
Germany.
Germany, do you see any? Okay, here you can see.
Is there a number? Can you
Yeah,
give
here's
me a
actually telephone number 030.
030 is
Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah. So you can also see advertisement, and the projector is miserable, but you can see advertisement here. You can see here some shops, yeah, some main street area, but not really shopping really. But the important part is, okay, you can see here the Palace,
Museum?
Palaceum.
No, that's a home because it has all the satellite dishes on the
Yeah. Okay, it's an apartment building with satellite dishes. Why are there satellite dishes? You are going to be quiet, you know that. Why, my dear American students, why are there satellite dishes at a apartment building, probably a rental apartment building? Why are there at every balcony?
You can't have cable.
Good thought. Can't have cable or what? There is cable, or already cable there. No,
It's in an older building.
no, cable is in the building.
Is it wrong?
What type of cable channels do you see when you watch here in Miami-Dade and or Broward County?
Local,
They want
Local ones, and what else?
the ones you pay for.
Private and public.
HBO. They want to go to
No,
American show.
you guys are having too much fun with
They
the
want to
cable.
watch soccer.
Netflix.
Soccer would be good.
HBO
All
next.
right, what are places? Places are spaces with felt value, culture, and identity. So what kind of culture I have when I have a bunch of satellite dishes
International.
to supplement
They're foreign.
the
To the
cable network. Why? That's 2005 in Berlin. Actually, that was in East Berlin. Yeah. But why would I put a satellite dish up there? Because my favorite TV shows, in this case, probably Turkish Community, is not yet supplied in the local cable. That's a thing you don't have as a problem necessarily in the Miami-Dade County area, because your local TV stations will support you in Spanish-speaking movies and shows. I don't know, I don't live in Miami-Dade, but I think I have some Spanish-speaking things too. Even I think the HBO's channels you get in Spanish. Like, ooh,
It's the first language.
oh,
So now
I don't
the
speak
house
that.
is here.
huh? So,
In US?
one indicator, not necessarily up to date, but a traditional indicator, if you read context in an image or in even map, there's a picture, try to find indicators and proof of the location where you're at. Because it helps to fill that gap of information.
Thank you.
And the important part is, this is potentially an immigration-based community. Yeah? If you would do that in, let's say, the Netherlands, Rotterdam, Amsterdam, probably the same thing, satellite dishes, but probably a African community in the Amsterdam area. Yeah? So planning in the context. This definitely old means new. In contrast, this is somewhat integration as well. Kind of funny is actually they actually had a commercial for Air Berlin flying to southern Spain and hang out at the beach. So, well, it's freezing cold. This is the lady here is actually a former student. That's a down jacket. The down jacket. You wear that with freezing temperatures. Oh, I had to zoom in. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Now I don't see satellite. Now I see.
Here, satellite dish.
Yeah.
Actually two.
Yeah, yeah.
Satellite dish, satellite dish, satellite dish.
Yeah.
Yeah? It's like an NSA substation. Here we see. Yeah, there's two. You can see here the shops. Alright, plan making. Step 1 want.
It makes you want to go back in time and invest in satellite.
No, you don't want that.
They have it here too, if you want it, you can get it. It's like $100. They come install kind of channel.
What is a vision?
Satellite, yeah.
What is a vision?
Thinking 20 years from now,
Okay.
in the future.
What
Future
else?
grand plan.
A goal.
An outcome.
Ideas for the future. Grand goal. Came up with this example last week. I have a dream. Yeah? This is pretty much one of the most important vision statements we got, I think, in the past 100 years here. It's actually funny because the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines a vision as something seen in a dream, trance, or ecstasy. That is the state of ecstasy. This is not the narcotic, okay? That's 1:15. I'm glad that you're more awake now than this morning at 8. But okay. Certainly questions visions as the great idea of new innovations, launching paths of development, imperative for cultural change. Yeah? Cultural change as change your status quo into the anomaly. What is an anomaly?
Out of the ordinary.
Out of the ordinary. You have an example for the anomaly?
Maybe that's not the best definition.
Anomaly in what context? The site plan context?
Any definition of anomaly that you can come up with. What is an anomaly?
Something weird?
Something stands out, it's not uniform, it's not.
Mistake.
An Iranian guy in your class.
No, that's a common sense thing. I can handle that.
Defining the odds.
Somewhat, yeah. So we had a big discussion in the past about that, and multiple examples, internationally, cultural, not so sensitive. Not you, me. I made a comment and everyone's like, what? My professor almost like, who are you? What are you doing in my class? Here's the door. We're really great friends now. So Tony Allen came up with this question, what is an anomaly? And this is a kind of a trigger for you to think outside of the box. An anomaly could be something like you have a machine that produces short sleeve t-shirts. And suddenly you have one shirt coming out with long sleeves. And then again, you have short sleeves coming out. That could be an anomaly. Nature does that to us all the time. Yeah? Or you have a sequence of circles over time, and you suddenly have a rectangle.
So in biology,
Triangle.
that would be a mutation.
In the most extreme case. So the question is, what was causing the mutation, and where does this mutation go?
Well, sometimes it's spontaneous. There's no
All right.
explanation for it.
So if this is the status quo, and this is our anomaly, the question is, I think you can see this from this side. Can you still see the triangle? The question is, are you going this route further, or are you breaking that track? And then, no, start like this, with another triangle. Some other combination, let's do this. Triangle, 0, 0, or zeros, triangle, so and so on. This is where the revolution starts.
Can you think of it in terms of probability, deviations from the
No, it doesn't have to do anything with statistics.
Gotcha.
Yeah, good thought. But yeah, let's think about more political science, cultural change. We just saw an example from Berlin. This is 1998, where thousands of people are standing with candles in the street and say, let's get the sledgehammers out and tear down that wall.
I was in the Soviet Union when the wall fell.
All right, fine, welcome here. That's okay.
Yeah.
I was not, but I had actually friends in college that have been on both sides, ready to run it in the military against each other, which is kind of fun. You're having a beer and you're having food, and they're like, yeah, I was in East Germany in the military about that time. Yeah, and the other guy's like, yeah, me too. Literally like within 10 kilometers or 5-ish miles deployment. Like, yeah, they would have not shaken hands, they would have exchanged other means of communication. A revolution, literally a revolution. More the peaceful action here in this case, let's say German reunification. Thousands on the street demonstrating, and then the system broke down, opened up. Yeah? Could be one thing. Could be a landmark speech. I have a dream. Things change. Bridge of Selma could be that moment if you look at the US culture in the context. Yeah? And could be the very first democratic elections in a country that was not democratically elected before. Change in government could be that. Change in attitude. After this class, you will look at things differently. Yeah? And so a anomaly doesn't have to be mutation as a negative. It can actually advance the system. It's a shock to the system. Shock. Or the German talk that's actually seen that.
It can be positive or negative.
Could be positive or negative. It could bounce back and forth. Like Cuba opened up.
So,
Let's see how this works.
so what mixed use development were created? Was that considered like a shock? 'Cause I think at some point in the past, you had to have residential properties in certain locations, and you had to have.
We'll come to that next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we talk about vision, I want to do this. I have this idea. I want to think more sustainable. I want to redesign land uses that are separated by definition at this moment. I want to merge them because there's synergy effects. So you gotta think about that. So there's one is the metaphor, political science idea, almost the philosophy. How can the anomaly be created or appear to us? Yeah. And then the other thing is, what is your vision? And the vision can then be translated into a mission statement that you want to do A, B, C, D, and then you operationalize that almost like a business plan. If your vision is to be successful in your careers as a real estate developer, and your mission statement is, I want to be successful as a developer with lots of money, well, your business plan, operations plan needs to express that somehow, make a lot of money. But maybe you say, I'm okay with $1 million income a year, don't need the 2 million. But I do benefits to the community because I do more sustainable energy conserving projects. Like I had one student today show me the teaching manuals for LEED, to actually get a little bit more more status on actually more sustainable energy conserving elements. There you go, how are you doing? I want to take a break? Get some coffee? You want to get some coffee? I'm going to take a break in 8 minutes, but he needs coffee. Yeah? Alright. Ebenezer Howard had a vision of the Garden City, and this is like the history of urban models and urban visions, 115 years in, let's say, 5 minutes. Yeah? So Ebenezer Howard had the idea the town magnet and the country magnet would need to be merged into the town-country magnet. Yeah? And this idea came from the theory of the great cities, London and Paris, and then later New York. In London, people died because there was not really a sewer system, slumlords, no sanitation, etc. pp. really bad. This is about 1899. No? So this guy came up with the idea. Do you have a colorful slide? Yeah. This guy came up with the idea. We separate land uses, a little bit different what you said with the mixed use. We separate land uses, but we add quality of life. Center point is the garden with the Crystal Palace, like a big assembly hall. Then you have the Central Park as a green lung for the area, and people could hang out there. You have the Grand Avenue as a main connector, and this whole thing is a circle. You know? That's just one quadrant. And then you have a railroad connection, you have some roads in there, but the system of garden cities is going to be connected. Yeah? With a central city in the middle, railroad and streets outside. Yeah? You can see those pieces. So the thing is, they are supposed to be about 5,000 acres and 25 to 32, what does it say, 32,000 people? Yeah. So each of these units are 32,000 residents. Well, that's like a neighborhood downtown Miami, so stereotyping here. So, and all is green, all is nicely connected, and you have agricultural lands, you have actually inside that plan, you have actually manufacturing, cycling, engineering, you know, jam factory, land lease, not ownership. Homes have been land leases, and the residents are owners, shareholders of the corporation called the city. So this thing was published in 1902, the second reprint in 1902, and this guy was an accountant. So he really did the books for this, writing this down. It had nothing to do with urban planning as an education from his side. He was an accountant, and basically argued in the town people are going to be sick, die fast, and getting exploited. Everyone in the countryside is healthy, but okay. Why don't we merge that? Early start of mixed use and quality of life centers. Yeah? But kept separation of land uses, particularly we know 1926, City of Euclid versus MSRED. They made the decision of that zoning codes need to be fixed on the land, on the parcel specific. We're doing planning law a little bit today, like planning law 50.5, not the 101, because you get a full lecture on this as a class. But the decision was made, uses need to be parcel based, distinct parcel based. You can't do commercial in the one corner and residential in the other corner. Yeah? So it took about 80 something years until we started to rethink that Euclidean zoning is not the greatest. Alright, this is the garden city concept, which was actually built multiple times, now actually suburbs of London and, what was her name, not Columbia, in Maryland, as well as Columbia, is actually the US example for that.
Rockville.
No, Rockville is the guy who did this, Frank Lloyd Wright, Broadacre City. That's it. Yeah, Broadacre City, that's different. Alright. Singapore. Singapore in 2003. This is the city planning department or state planning department. This is a full-to-scale model of the town or island or state actually of Singapore. With all the trees, with all the buildings, everything in scale. Yeah. This is a typical 2.5 or 1.5 story Chinese home. They call them Chinese houses. Yeah. One full floor, and then the roof attic part is like living. But to give you the idea, this is like towers we have in Las Olas or in Brickell. You can see traditional housing, traditional neighborhoods, and then I think stock exchange is this one or this one, I can't remember. Yeah? But the amazing part is everything which is in the pastel tones, here like these, are going to be built with land extension into the, extending the Marina Bay with land infill, like literally pouring dirt into ocean and put towns on top of it. Yeah. And this is the main marina coming here in the back, and then here's the ocean.
So a question, Singapore, is that mandated that everything has to be color coded?
What do you mean color coded?
Well, he said pastel tones, 'cause
Well,
some
these are,
cities,
all right.
uh,
This is an existing building as they had it already, and these are proposed buildings in the master plan. Yeah? So they put that in different time phasing, 10 years, 25 years out. Yeah? But the amazing part is they put the whole city, it's an island state, the whole city into a model and you walk around. So human scale, this is a 6-foot person. Yeah? I'm leading in, this is just a downtown area. Yeah? But very impressive. This is April 2003. So I missed the visits 10 years and 15 years. 15 years later would be great. We're doing a cruise, not flying to Singapore. We'll figure it out. Maybe it's not. But a different way of planning. We had this repeat. Alright, this is the following part. This is me begging you guys to be authentic in what you propose to the communities. Because if you want to leave a authentic legacy and your a reputation, so someone will call you up again, keep that in mind. These are slides I got from my old planning law professor. These are mind-blowing. Yeah? This is a really great development. Didn't bring this spreadsheet for it. Avondale Commons. This is something we'll see here too. This was built in Ohio. Yeah? You have gateway function, main entrance. Yeah, you have supply entrances here and here. You have main magnets. This could be one of the corners here at the Sawgrass Mill. This could be Home Depot and Walmart. Yeah, and then you have other shops behind it, office spaces. Yeah, and little stores like could be a drive-through bank, could be a pharmacy, could be a Walgreens. Yeah, we have seen that pattern. Looks pretty okay, does it? And you have seen stuff like this. What they did is they actually put some really in time into the landscaping plan. And I can see really nicely, they actually have here like a main street pattern in here with even a bridge as part of the gateway hello function. Yeah. More detailed drawing. That's one of the main roads coming in. Nice gateway function here, over the bridge, over the creek. In here, you split the traffic and you will have one of the magnets there. Sounds great. Imagine you have nice foam boards. So you, engineer, lawyer, this is what we're going to do. Please give us the approval. Beautiful. Yeah, I would just really want to walk here, park here, walk over there into the Galleria thing, and really nice, all these trees giving shade, yeah. Only 1 or 2 cars, really wonderful for pedestrians, yeah. Even though there is no path setting or something like pathway, I just walk across the street. Yeah, beautiful. Yep, well that's reality. That is one of the gateway functions. I'm sorry, this is not the first time I show this, but it's always amazing to me. This is one of the magnets. I do shop at Walmart too sometimes, so I don't judge the company. Yeah, there are certain price conditions that is beneficial to every level of income. Huh? This is an awesome clock tower, is it? Huh? Hello, you're in Everyday Commons. Oh, tree, how awesome you are. Did I have that? No. Alright, here. Welcome function, bridge. You come over the bridge, you walk over the bridge, easy go, 2 people next to each other. Again, you have the car traffic. Yeah, 2 people here. You have this little nice wonderful fountain display. Yeah, makes life really easy. Alright, beautiful trees. Feels like walking in the park. That is the view from that water fountain over to that bridge. From here, down to here. You're looking exactly from this in this direction. Really great. Alright. I know for sure at least one person has kids in this room. You said you have kids.
Yeah.
Did you? Alright. At least one person in addition had the pleasure to be a good uncle or aunt and pushing a stroller. Going with your sister or with friends and kids shopping. There is no way that you push a stroller with a kid in it and with a friend walking. Yeah? Good luck. Those are 3 lanes, not 2 lanes. Yeah? I didn't want to put you on the spot. But we mentioned that last week when we had a similar conversation. Okay. So, looks beautiful, functional. Yeah, remember? Site planning goal?
Yep.
Well, they put the pattern in with gray blocks, not red. Square blocks are not here. Yeah? So, pattern in the green, this is chapter 5 or 6 in the textbook, is in place, but not as they actually promised you. This is, dear Santa, send me a pony. You get a teddy bear. Yeah? Well, this is more about how you present it and how you deliver. Wow. I want to sit there and sip a cocktail and listen to a blues band playing. Yeah? This is great. Pagodas, could even play a little bit chess, fresh flowers, awesome shade-giving trees.
Yeah.
Looks cool, huh?
Shit.
They built that.
That was one
Hot.
thing. It's hard to make it
All right.
come true.
If you have the book, I think it's chapter 13, where all these tons of pictograms of trees come up. You don't have to be a person, a specialist in trees. But this tree here is definitely not this one. Yeah? Even if you look and say they change the angle, those hedges and brushes, no, not really. Yeah? So give this about 10 to 15 years and you might talk a little bit. They put the pagoda in, that's fine. Yeah? But here, the only thing I want to do here is put some chalk on the place and have a cranky kid play. Yeah? While I take a rest and then drive home. Or pretty much dump the kid into the car with the AC on and go home. Yeah? Because this is not what I want for shopping.
Shelter cover from the sun
Yeah, it looks great. Oh man, use music. Yeah, no. Not, this is a pass through. This is not even let's go there destination.
So let me ask a question. Can we, when we're doing site planning, well, do planners usually create like what they call a rough draft? Like,
Yep.
okay,
Assignment number 2.
okay.
Like we do real estate financials on a napkin, like first level of feasibility analysis. Does this make sense? Rough numbers, between twink number 2 and number 3. Does this really work out? And then you figure it out in more depth. Stage number 1 of real estate development. In site planning, yes, you do a lot of tons of drafts.
Okay.
Rough sketches, good hand sketching is important. Konak Ray is going to be here in 2 or 3 weeks from EDSA plan. What they're doing is they have actually, while you and I talk, landscape architect sitting next to you and start sketching things out. On paper, multiple sketches with Persian paper or design paper to flip-flop, and then or immediately one is sketching for the idea as communication, the other one is building the model in the computer. So they did within workshops within 2 or 3 days, dozens of acres redevelopment, because some of the stuff is plug and play. Like some of those trees, bing, just pin the location of the tree and the computer fits it.
So if it's a thorough work, if it's thorough work, you wouldn't get a situation where you have a draft that looks like this, or a site plan that looks like this, and the actual outcome looks like the picture that you're showing like that, yeah. You've seen that? That actually happens?
This is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
That's what I'm saying, how could
This
that?
is from a brochure and from a proposal. This is the real build.
That's what I'm saying, how could they?
How can it get approval
Right.
process?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
all right, now you're raising the right question.
Okay, right.
How did this
Yes.
go through the approval process?
Yes.
Because we talk about this with time delay, but
Right.
I understand that there are certain trees like these in the back. They will take time over time
Right.
we will come like into this.
Exactly.
But the general
Right.
character here is completely changed. Well, there are different ways to do that, particularly who is in control of the site.
Okay.
And one of the big buzzwords, what we have heard in the past, is master planned communities and or planned unit developments, where you as the local government give me some portion of your planning power, and once you agree on this, with portion of the planning power, I could in theory go into that. Yeah?
Okay.
Wait a few more minutes, or maybe an hour, we're actually talking about the planning law behind that. Yeah?
If you go back to the last, yeah, behind those two columns, there's a building. There's no building in those.
Oh, this is maybe the different angle of the picture. Alright, here's my clock tower. Clock tower, nice passage. Clock tower, nice passage. Okay, given the fact there is a time delay. Okay, this is from Ohio. In Florida, we have a different style. This would be not a tree that needs 5 years to grow. What are we going to do here in Florida? Reprice a tree that is not 3 years old, reprice a tree that is 10 years old, and put the whole down two-story high palm tree into place and tie it up. So for half a year, that thing needs to get rooted and all that stuff, but you have a full-blown palm tree within a weekend on that location.
Sure.
If you put the price into place. If you have the customers who appreciate that and will pay for that.
Okay.
So maybe that kind of magnet function does not appreciate that. Huh? If that would be Hawks Landing, one of the subdivisions in Plantation or Nob Hill, like Nob Hill and Cleary, or between Broward and Cleary, I'm going to put something like this in place. They have all year long Christmas decorations at night in their palm trees. They're also causing massive traffic conflict when I actually drive by on my way home during the day. But that's another issue. This is part of circulations we actually have tonight and tomorrow. Alright. Let's take a 3-minute break, maybe 5. Do you get coffee? Alright.
Does anyone have any Tylenol or Motrin, aspirin, Excedrin? Generic brand.
What did you increase upon making myself?
I still have this one.
I mean, car, Tylenol.
And I'm that serious. When we take a break, I want you to stand up, shake those legs, walk down to the other entrance and back, or go to the bathroom. Because if you keep sitting, I keep going.
Oh my God,
Hashtag pushy professor.
Did we lose classmates, or people just didn't come today?
Oh, your group got smaller?
Who's missing?
I think we had Danilo.
Oh,
He said it is coming later.
Oh, okay.
Or not, I don't. He was here in the morning. But he said he gave me his assignment and I said it's coming back.
For what?
Oh, I have a huge list here of events that I look online and
Real estate events?
sí, real estate events. Y puse también en la lista que nos envió RJ.
Okay.
¿Pero quiere que te lo envíe?
Yeah.
Sí, sí.
¿Tú tienes tu licencia de realtor?
Sí.
With which company?
Yo la saqué con Gold Coast.
But do you have it registered with somebody?
Ah, con Liberty, se llama la compañía.
Maybe?
Empezaron, it was founded this year.
Okay.
Very new.
It's like high percentage of the sale to you, right?
6%. But yeah, he does 90 and 10, which is great.
Yeah.
And has his own website, so we get
On the
a lot of
listings
listings a month.
Park,
Yeah.
the whole stretch It's
My
like,
first
yeah,
month I
Central
sold
Park is
12
nice, but they
houses.
did this whole thing.
My first month, that's
And
that was
you do not
easy.
believe that this used to be a coal mining industry, and now you have a museum there and everything is green.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the greenest spots in Europe, but in ex-industrial areas. So,
I like the
Really cool spot.
ABD. ABD. The ENA. As you want that. Wow, 12 houses?
Yep.
That's so good.
The average was like 210, 200,000 per house. Yeah, it was big money.
alright.
I don't like a little mouse, I
Two more
like
bites.
finger.
This is the website.
It was like Sailor with the same concept.
Oh, Liberty. The owner made the website or he purchased it?
No, he made part, but he contracted other developers.
Okay, everyone here, everyone fresh in mind.
No, it doesn't seem.
Still, we get it done. Guys, 3 minutes.
Did you collect the assignment already or not?
They said
Nope, we're getting there. Alright, next fun item. Gotta go a little bit back to the text. Okay, the site plan locates two things. Yeah? One of the things are the physical objects, and the other things are the human activities. Every part what we do as in planning and or real estate development will deal with these two things. Physical environment and the human environment on the site. And we do a great job or not so great job in doing so. Yeah? The way we arrange those. What Lynch is really particular in is the concept of linkages. Yeah? Links, there are movements of goods, people, communication, and other things. Waste. One of the things we usually don't think about is waste management. Yeah? And then also you have to deal with the separations of those. What are the distances between these? Yeah? How to link them best together. What are the synergies? What creates the livability on this? And do you need to link them at all? Do I want to have a nuclear power plant right next to a single family home? Probably not. Did or can happen in the past, yeah? But there are certain thoughts you did not follow up on this. Yeah? So the question here is also, how do you do the arrangement of the process of these alignments? Yeah? And how you actually set this in place. It also depends on the mix of uses. So yeah, I listed here a few things like density, floor area ratio, TDR and PDR. Anyone has idea what's a TDR or a PDR?
Transfer of development rights,
Yep.
PDR,
Purchase?
property.
Purchase development rights. A few slides later we will have that. Yeah? So there's a somewhat new legal concepts that give incentive for development or not an incentive for development at a specific site. So you transfer that right. Yeah? Well, we also can control the density with the classic way of low and high density, but with PDR, TDR in place, I can push the button a little bit. I can push this around. Yeah? So, how does density impact your thinking as RED? Why would you consider density in RED? All these single family homes, 3 acres, green grass in front of the house. That's nice, but that's only one family. Why would I consider density?
understand how much you have to build?
Well, for
To meet
oh,
the needs
top
of-
line.
For retail, why would I use, yeah, why would I need to consider that?
And also like for financing, you know, how many units you can get
From
in.
how many units, yeah?
Use of space.
Use of space. Remember a cookie cutter with single family homes is the biggest bang for the buck. Squeeze out the smallest parcel with the most buildings on it. Well, think about that. Depending on your environment, density would mean you go up. Literally, physically up. 3, 4, 5 floors, if not 25 floors.
Like,
No?
like in
So
Houston?
economies of scale, the price per unit changes over the amount of density you impose on the property. Yeah? You still can build $1 million home, you still can build $1 million condo, but it's a different density you put in place. Yeah? Keep that in mind. Floor area ratio, we had that in construction management, it comes back all the time when it comes to design. Yeah? How much space you can use as for the building versus the whole lot. How to conceptualize mixed-use development or MUD. Here comes your answer, Kathleen. Here comes your answer. How we can use mixed-use developments and how it came about to change mixed-use developments. First picture is shared premises dimension. That was a classic example of old school farming. Farmhouse right next door. Yeah? Or even in medieval ages, you would even have the sheep and the pigs in the first floor, and then you would live with them and/or in the second floor family. Yeah, not really ideal. Housing and working, modern or old school manufacturing could be the case. My grandpa opened up a print shop, so we would house, big stretch building with all the print machines. Like literally, you leave the house door and turn left, and you walk into the office building or office from. Print shop, not office building. Yeah? So the horizontal dimension, the mixed use, that's the easy way. That's our classic retail model. Yeah? We have housing, working housing, retail, shopping, maybe housing again. And why would we do that? Why would we put these functions next to each other in space?
Accessibility.
What?
Accessibility.
No. Good thought, but not that. Think real estate development. Synergies, I have synergies in the vertical dimension too. Maybe even better ones than in the next door building to building. Why would I impose a building to building development where I change the character of the building with the land use inside? Why would I have a magnet retail function in the front and maybe office buildings in the back?
Portfolio diversification.
No. Revenue is a good idea. Alright, what's the definition of risk?
Diversification.
Risk is the likelihood or the probability of total loss. Who deals with risk? The developer. Who deals with the risk mostly? Alright, here.
The financing.
Who had construction management? Here, Ariel and Paul. You guys, everyone else did not. Did you? That was a full session on that. Risk management. Why would you do risk management? And how to transport this in this place? If risk is the probability of total loss, and you come in and tell me, oh, I need $20 million for our development.
And spread out the risk.
Diversification, spread out the risk. Do I spread out the risk here? If you don't get that retail magnet in?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's gonna come in,
If you don't get the magnet in, and you still do the housing in the office?
yeah,
Yeah?
okay.
Vertical building. Retail, office, and the lower floors. Maybe even parking garage. And that's all we're actually going to have parking and retail combined. Like retail, bunch of parking, and then office block. Yeah? Are you going to tell me if your financing doesn't really work out, your concept, or the market is changing too fast, that you're going to add 3 floors of penthouse on top? for, let's say, a law firm or something like this? I know. If you walk in and say this building is $15 million and I need financing for it, but I won't be able to change it accordingly to the market. If your main tenant never really walks in because they make the decision not to expand anymore in that market, what are you going to do? You have HVAC system for restaurant or coffee shop in place. And then you have a problem. So I used this diagram for my dissertation. For a building of $14.5 million, you lost its primary target as a retailer, aka Starbucks. Last time I checked, there was an arts gallery shop in that prime location instead of a Starbucks. That's a few pennies difference in revenue. Yeah? And they couldn't put parking in 2 floors down, only 1 level parking, because the subsurface conditions of your site planning came across of hard rock and water issues. So they couldn't go down. So they actually built a 6-story high home with condos in there and had issues with parking. So they actually can't satisfy all the parking for the residential and the retail users. Yeah? Fantastic example. All right. Time dimension. This is the new thing. Switching into housing. Having an old rundown neighborhood with warehousing, moving into warehousing lofts. Huh? All those yuppies, millennials. Now I live in a loft. Cool. Remember the 80s movies and you come back home and you move the freight elevator door? That was the sales pitch of it. Yeah, now I live in a loft. And in terms of office space, what's the thing now, what we have?
Shared workspaces.
Co-spaces, shared workspaces, flex space. I give you a lease for 2 or 3 years. Well, fine, I have all the infrastructure in place. If this is not going to be a yoga studio, I can put a tax office in place as well. Because I even have the showers and or other stuff in place needed. Or change even the spaces because I take out a whole unit, the wall of a whole unit. Yeah? More flexibility. Let's see if you do in the Argus class actually flex space calculations. That's going to be fun. Who had Argus yet? Oh, you're missing out. I just had a great idea.
For the shared premise, are you saying that you could do either working or housing, or you're doing both in the same building?
Traditionally, there would have been both in the same building, but it's right next door inside. It's one unit. Yeah.
So left and right side of the building?
It's a dashed line, so it's more fluid.
Okay.
Basically, the idea is, okay, fine, what kind of function do you have? You could have a by zoning code, you could have a home office for a law firm in your residential home. Think about that. So it's not necessarily like a 20-floor high rise for one company. It could be something smaller. You can run a daycare in a residential neighborhood. Just have to get the permits for that.
Depending on the zoning, right?
Huh?
Depending on the zoning.
Depending on the zoning. So we'll get into the legal framework in a minute. Legal framework is so you can see this floor area ratio. If you haven't had exposure to that, 1 story would give the 100% floor coverage or lot coverage. 2 stories and 4 stories, you can see this is a pattern. So if I give you a specific floor area ratio, you actually know, okay, fine, this is as much as high you can build based on the lot size. Yeah? And there are defined regulations and zoning ordinances for that. But always the fun is the building envelope. This goes a little bit too much into the design and legal part, but it's really hard to fight a change in the front yard setback regulations.
45 feet.
Depends on the local municipality.
25, 16, 20.
Depends on the local municipality. It could be different. You could have Las Olas, front yard setback is 0. If you perceive it, because you have the sidewalk and then you have the wall of the building or the shopping center, the shopping window. Yeah. Depending on the legal text, the question is then is the curb site included in that setback or not? Yeah. So let's stay on the language on depending on local municipalities and their zoning code ordinances.
So it's a big difference between commercial and residential as well.
Depending on the zoning code, you will have different setbacks and rules how to deal with that. Depending on the type of development and the community around it, you will have different setback regulations. You probably know the pain from your professional daily life about that. Yeah? Depending if you're a corner lot or not, you're not allowed to have visibility obstruction in place. So no big brushes or signage here at the corner because otherwise traffic is hindered. Theory in some municipalities, you are technically not completely allowed actually to have a fence up here because of the obstruction. The fence could be only to a certain height. It's also very funny in the residential world. That's a hint for you as property owners, homeowners, is you need to be aware of the setback regulations towards your neighbors for structures, aka your gardening shed. Because just because you find this really nice shed at Home Depot, doesn't mean that by law it's allowed to actually be put straight here to the property line. Even for the 6-foot privacy fence of your neighbor would be perfect to back it up. Not really. Same thing here. If you plant a tree, you have to be careful of the setback regulations because certain trees are not allowed to be in a certain distance because they grow this and this way.
And the roots.
Nobody really talks about the roots usually. They talk about the shade and the fruit and the leaves. Yeah. Your neighbors will curse you for the leaves, depending on which climate zone you live in. And then here, Kathleen, you're my mud person today, my mixed-use development person. Depending on how you mix all that together into mixed-use development, you might get a different setup of regulations. All right. We can skip that. Let's talk about this. There are different concepts of plans and comprehensive plans, and the book goes into that. Clayman, the law book, actually, the reading section for today ends with the concept of comprehensive plans. This is an example for Copenhagen, or Copenhagen, which they call it the finger plan because literally you put your hand on it and you have these corridors fully supported with transit, streetcar, buses, and they basically said, okay, fine, in the middle you can see this, how they face this up, how they wanted to grow this over time, late 40s, 60s, 70s, and this looks pretty much like you have seen earlier today with the Garden City, like the segment with different faces in between, green spaces and residential and manufacturing. And they're doing a really good job. The Danish there, they're really doing an interesting thing in terms of what they promote, how they promote through urban growth and guided urban growth in their comprehensive plan, how they promote actually health, public health. That's the ultimate goal for them. Future generations, public health. The comprehensive plan starts with a vision statement and how you transfer that in. Status quo and how you change that over the next 5, 10, 25 years. That's a typical setup for the comprehensive plan. So for you guys, for the competition, for the urban plan setup, you need to think about your vision. There are different ways to be a development team in the setup. And based on your vision, you translate that in a more or less aggressive financial solution. The winning team does not necessarily has to make the most money in that setup. That's something to remember. You can win the urban plan competition in this class as best team without making the most money. Yeah, believe it or not. Believe it or not.
Aren't we developers though?
Well, believe it or not, you will see. Remember that. You don't have to have the biggest money made in the project. Because there are certain elements you might want to consider and you say, yeah, we do 16%, it's okay. Let the other team have the 19%. Huh? But you might have a better, more comprehensive approach on how you deal with the whole set of community. Keep that in mind. Alright? Alright, Brasilia, comprehensive plan, sketch from and then build the urban form, basically napkin to real world. Yeah? Interesting place. Same thing here, Chandigarh, the Radiant City. That's from a guy called Le Corbusier, Swiss-born French architect. This is Paris. This is his idea how to reconstruct Paris, demolish the great city, and rebuild it with new ideas. This is Chandigarh. In case you haven't heard about that, this is actually the administrative center in North Indian province. If I'm not completely mistaken, they actually built that. Little sectors, little compartments, they actually put that in place in the early 60s. Yeah? Suntec City as an example from Malaysia, former copper mine, completely privatized city. As you can see, you have the old mining pit. That's a wave pool. You can surf here. They put a rail. Where is it? This is the college. Hospital and college in it. College is, yeah. Next picture is the other way around. This is hotel with the pool. That's Suntec. Here's the amusement park with the rail. There, on this side is an interstate with a interregional train, like our tri-line. Yeah. And then manufacturing, casino and university hospital, private university, a private town. Not government and like little Davy.
Private developers.
No, private town. Private developer and private town. So this is the lake pool, surf pool. Here you can see the tram. Yeah. And this is that little town here that in front of us. 60 to 80,000 people. Private town. Like Robocop lives. In the middle of Malaysia, down here in the haze, you estimate the Kuala Lumpur towers. Petronas, yeah. And then you have Berlin, New Köln, the Gropiusstadt from Max Gropius, who's famous for the Pan Am building or MetLife building in New York. Different impressions. Okay, speaking of different impressions, we're running through this today.
Will you send us the email for the PowerPoint for last class and this class?
Yeah, I will post PDFs of PowerPoints.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who's this?
That was our assignment.
That looked like Carly.
Whose assignments is that?
I don't know, nothing.
I don't know. I don't have the end
I
number.
think
Copy.
it was.
Carlos? Okay, he skipped it. Fine. Who's this? I've seen this today. Was it you, Paul? No.
No.
Who's that? I didn't copy and paste the end numbers.
Do you want to know the names for you, or you just?
Yeah, because if it's yours, I would like to invite you to come up here and talk about it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. That
Is it yours?
Yeah.
You have your hard copy in front of you.
I
Take a
do.
look at it. Would be not the first time that the student is checking the hard copy.
Yeah.
All right, come up here. Explain in a few sentences what you have had in mind and go for it.
So, speaking completely in layman's terms, what I had in mind was like a neighborhood that blended in office, retail, residential, historic, and green spaces. So I don't know if such places actually do exist, but that was my vision.
I'm going to show you the place. That's a real town. Okay, how did you end up with these assumptions?
I saw the residential area, like starting out mostly residential, and then moving into like office and retail, and then the historical site. So I was like, okay, that would be like the historical part of the town that had to be preserved, couldn't be rebuilt.
How did you end up with the idea that this is historical?
just inspired on places I visited that have similar blends. I was in,
Places you visited such as?
Georgetown
Okay.
in DC,
Okay, what else?
St. Augustine, a few others.
What do you think is this building?
Some type of because like the river comes around, there's like a green area, something like that. That would be like the oldest part of town. And this could be a Capitol building, and then like some, I don't know, some theater from.
What you're saying about the black area here? Why did you put that as black?
Yeah, so I wanted to be as green as possible. So the parking garages and parking lots, I made them like to the side of the city, so like people would have to park there and either walk or bike or kind of like.
All right. All right. Good. Thank you.
Sorry.
That's
Might
all.
not have
No. So you're going to see two things. Well, next few examples. Everyone has a specific item on there as a special feature for some reason. I want to know why you picked that and the reasoning. Yeah, there's a lot of parking, but reading the pattern and saying this is something of a central destination, that little building here, is a common theme because of the alignment of the street pattern. Who is this? Don't be shy. You don't have to talk about it, but I would encourage you to talk about it because it's the 30 seconds of fame and you can actually practice public speaking. Who's missing? You're all complete, are we? 6?
No.
No, the one who went to
There's definitely
the gentleman who asked you earlier if
That's
you
not
could go to purchase his books, if you can go to the one who sits in the last row in the other class, he's missing.
It's completely different up there.
Yeah, it's a little darker, or
That's
not
not
colored.
That's yours, isn't it? Because I didn't count like I did.
Scan this
Okay,
book.
7, 8, 12, 14. Those are 2.
There's someone missing our class.
It looks like
The
I think
Nicholas
Carlos
was-
went to the bathroom or
He
something.
went-
Carlos disappeared. He left his Mac. We can take this as a deficit.
Yes.
Alright, don't want to talk about it?
Sure. Do you want this? The actual one?
Oh yeah, I need all the copies, but you can drop them if you come up here. I like it, so tell us about it.
Okay. Well, to start off, I originally had the water, I guess, white. But the more I read your instructions, I was like, I gotta color this just in case, because you said no white.
Okay.
So I turned it green, but it should be water. But my vision for, I guess, my city plan was to keep the residential buildings on the outskirts of the cities and have just a few more in the city for people that are single or people that need to live in the city or want to live a city life, but kept the residential more on the outskirts, and then left the retail and office buildings mainly in the city, and then had historic buildings kind of in each section, kind of threw a building in each section of the entire city.
Alright, what I like is you actually have every building and you actually switch uses between those buildings. Is that a specific reason for that, or is it because you just like to
I wanted
get them
to mix and match, kind of mix,
out?
and then I put a lot of parking spaces because I know that could be a real issue for residents or locals that when you go places or whatever, if you're at an office or you're at a retail building, you never find enough parking, so I make sure I put parking spaces into.
So see, was that easy. Alright, next.
You want this now?
Yeah, just take that.
That's mine.
No, this is for a few I made copy and paste because some had some really cool legends. So he actually did a whole legend on it and I thought, okay, wow, that's inspiration. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, the first impression I had was, of course, the part that everybody had. This building. I imagine like historical buildings. So the 2 blocks beside, I decided to put retail and office buildings with a lot of parking, because I don't like to walk a lot, so I don't, and I can see that in here, that there's a lot of parking. Well, I also created some things that I think was interesting. Well, a lot of green areas around the water, of course, and this area is a district, art design area, or something like that. It's artistic buildings, and as we have a big river, I decided to put a port there in the other side, and I stayed in here, soccer, sorry.
That's interesting. I'm sorry. I just say it's 1-7 last time we saw that Germany.
And I also decided that we would have residential on the far part of the city. But if you want to live in the downtown, you can live in these buildings right here.
Okay, cool. Any city in your real life that you use for inspiration for that?
Well, I don't know, because of the river, maybe New York or something.
That's not that easy. Okay, thank you. What I like in this project or in this sketch is he actually disrupted the form I delivered to you guys, and basically said, okay, fine, let's realign almost like a corridor concept here for parking. Different from Dara's. He actually did this kind of clockwise mix, not building specific mix. So you walk 1 block across the street and you're kind of in a different tiny other world of the CBD. Yeah? Cool. But someone really built a really cool. Who's that? Alright, come up. It's your time. Like literally.
I don't want to explain it, but I'll
restaurants, mid-rise residential, high-rise residential, highways, trees, public infinity pool. Blow us away.
Alright. It's very urban. I try to make it a very urban area. So in the middle, so I'll go over here. So this is like the high-rise residential, and I want to put like retail on the bottom, and then mid-rise over here, so it all goes towards the central district, and then office buildings along over here, so people that live in the majority in the high-rise residential can walk to work. As well, I added like a subway station to get to, so you don't have to use your card to get from one place to another, and added a lot of greenery throughout. And I also want to focus on the central hub along the river and allocate that to be like restaurants and shops, and make that easy access for people that live in the hub to get to the restaurants and shops by walking, and then also walk to work. And then I put the industrial buildings along the highway for easy access for trucks and people that live in the suburbs to commute to work. And then I had the low-rise residential in the outskirts of town, so it kind of like all moves toward, that's kind of like the suburbs of the area. And then I put the greenery along the park. It's actually like this little like dot is like a walking trail to promote like active living, and a lot of greenery throughout. And also this is the big box like shopping center, so easy access for people to come outside the city to go to the big box shopping center. And over here is the school and community center and church, so it's kind of located close to like the low-rise residential. And I can go on forever. I can go on forever, but
please note that he put trees all over the place.
I just want to put a lot of detail and like emphasize on the urban living.
You read this and like, whoa. Different approach.
Oh, that's cool.
bonus points, compliments for the, is that one? For the legend. No, that's not. Who's that? Who has this awesome handwriting? It's like, wow, this is like computer printed. Like, no, it's not. Tell us about it a little bit.
So I tried to focus on the existing circulation on site, identifying these areas. These areas as the main thresholds.
Put the red button.
Here and here as the main thresholds, directing traffic in, and the black overlays are the surface parking and parking garages. So we're going to terminate all vehicular traffic at the end and then bring people in so it's a more walkable city.
Okay.
And
I know the original, so I'm smiling. Keep going, keep going. I know the original city, that's the reason why I'm smiling when you say walkable. I have one question.
yes.
You rotated the map. Why?
Yeah, because everybody's map is.
Everyone else is this way. Why did you rotate it?
Okay. So it's kind of like identified this as like the main axis.
Because you had no idea where north is. This could be rotated in any direction. Yeah? But it's interesting to see who laid it out, the left way or the right way. Yeah, or rotation. Alright, didn't want to confuse you. Looks good. Different. More blockwise zoning districts again instead of little areas. So different planning concepts. Yeah? And again, the trick then is the justification. Why would you have a whole block zone for residential and office versus the buildings? You can. This is why you have this